I'm tripping. I'm tripping.
HBCU, what's up, fellas and lady?
What's up? What's up?
We
Hi.
want to welcome Miss Princess to the show. She is our first guest, and we appreciate her showing up.
Thank you
Hey.
for having me. Thank
Absolutely,
you.
absolutely. Um, Today is kind of a off the wall topic that the guys dreamed up. So we decided to get a lady here to give some representation. But one of the first things I want to say to y'all, man, I'm gonna ask y'all about this Amy Comey Barrett situation. Did anybody see that lady credentials, man?
I
Well, I
looked it
saw
up and I couldn't find anything.
I
Who?
saw a meme on it, and where it was like she was a teacher for 15 years. She was, I mean, there's some weird off the wall stuff,
Bro.
like nothing that would put you in that position
Right.
Bro,
for life.
for life,
Right.
bro.
Man, what?
She ain't started being a judge. I think they said to 2017.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to ask because I mean I think that's one of the most ridiculous things, but we ain't even gonna get into privilege because we know mm,
It
yeah,
was crazy.
that's
Something like only civil cases, no
bro.
judicial cases,
She was
something
a
like that.
teacher. That's the extent of her doggone that's it. That's what she was for the most. But man, let's jump into it, man. So the fellas talked about interracial dating, talked about being color struck, talk about, guys that make it and then they seem to go get the chick that don't look like Princess. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with Princess, but that just seems to be what happens, and we're trying to figure out why that is. And when I say don't look like Princess, let's clear this up. First of all, Princess is a beautiful young lady. We're talking about the
Thank
color
you.
of her skin. That's it.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna let Princess kind of start to just warm the room up and kind of give me, it don't have to be a full on explanation. Just give me what your thoughts is around that in general.
Okay.
Careful now. Careful now.
Let me warm the room up real quick then.
Come on.
As far as like the whole interracial dating thing, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't have a problem with it. The only issue that I take is if someone is, let's say, a Black man chooses to get with a white woman or a woman of a different color, and they in turn like downplay or try to disrespect um, us. So that's kind of like my biggest thing because it's like, okay, you're a Black man, right? Your mama is Black, right? So why are you being disrespectful to this group of women, especially if, in the past you've dated Black women before? Now, I'm not a man, so I can't really speak on why, this is like a trend or this happens. But that's really like my biggest issue with it. Like, don't disrespect or downplay or diminish another race just because you have a preference. Because I mean, let's be honest, like as Black people, we're very multifaceted. I can speak for myself, and I'm sure I can speak for, if not everybody else, almost everybody else on the panel. We're not 100% Black. Like somewhere down the line in the past, we are products of some type of interracial commingling, that type of thing.
My
So
last
I
name
can't. Right. Okay. So that's very telling. So I don't have a problem with that. I just don't like when, it's kind of like, well, all Black women do is nag, or I got me a white woman because, I don't want to hear her mouth and she's going to do what I say and she's going to be submissive and she's going to be this. That's my only thing with it.
Right.
Did I warm the room up?
You
Yeah, it's
warmed it
hot.
up. I think it's a little steamy up in here.
Is it the generalization, if I said that word right,
Of what though?
that you feel like gets to you? Because I've seen men, and you'll see the post out there, and they'll say, that's why I don't date, Black women, and just from the man's perspective, I'm like, man, come on, bro. Like, you can't say that because people are gonna take it and run with it, even if they're not, they're not meaning it that way per se. But is that what one of the biggest issues, the generalization of it.
Yeah, and I think that comes with anything. Like whenever we're generalizing any group of people, you're always gonna try to put people in a box, and some people just don't fit in a box.
Right.
And a lot of things that happen are based on like things that have happened in the past. So I try to be understanding of certain situations. Like, for example, if a Black man decides that all he wants to do is date, white women or women of a different race, what prompted this decision? What happened in the past that caused, where we are or where they are today with it? Because we all have our preferences, I have my preference. And nobody can tell me differently or try to sway me differently.
Right.
But I'm also respectful of, things that may not be my cup of tea, so to speak. So
I saw Price taking notes though. I'm gonna let you know that nigga right there be taking notes, man.
Yeah,
So
if his head do
he
like
probably
this,
got
he
a few
right.
points off of things that you said. So I'm gonna let Price go down the list right quick.
Well, I don't have too much off of that, other than I would say that, maybe some of that criticism that guy that she was mentioning would give is twofold, and being that person is feeling attacked, whereas here they are, they chose and they like to date outside of their race, and they're on the opposite end of it, meaning they're getting the constant barrage of you a sellout, or you went this way, you don't like Black women no more, when it may not be the case. Are the ones that are receiving that backlash because they chose to date somebody different.
Or their grandma was like, "Don't bring her to my house."
Woo! Let me tell y'all. Yes, that's actually something that my grandmother has told me before, and it was when I was like in high school. When you first start dating, and my grandparents raised me, and one of the things that my grandmother said was, "Well, if they don't look like you and me, then But the thing is, I mean, I don't know, Jesse, I don't know if you've ever seen my grandmother before, but my grandma is probably like the lightest. I don't know, she about as light as this white paper I got over here, saying don't bring anybody that doesn't look like me. And I'm like, I don't even look like you, like not according to skin tone.
What you mean?
Right, what do you mean? Elaborate. So, but I mean, we all know what she was talking about, but
right.
You find that too in the Black community, parents, grandparents, older people, really trying to set that tone and be on some, don't bring, Becky or Karen or Susan home, and, that type of thing.
That's a
definitely not Karen.
That's a little pressure. J-Rod, what you think? Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I was gonna say I did write down some things. I don't know how y'all want to go about it as far as like addressing each point, but it pretty much was just like, okay, what are some of the things that are generalized when people, if you were to ask guys that date outside their race, which I'm married to a Hispanic woman, so I am one of those guys. But if you were to ask guys that have dated or married outside of their race, what are some of the things, or what are some of the reasons why you dated outside your race? Some of these things is what I got on the paper. Now, it don't mean this is my opinion on that. I want to clear that up, but it's just means that this is what some of the things that some people say. So, like, you obviously get like, I mean, y'all might want to like touch them one by one. I don't know, but like one of the things you always hear is strong personality / angry.
All right, so start right there. Start right there. I think it'd be better for us to touch each one because you're speaking some power that is power of opinion. So it kind of go, people tend to have that opinion about Black women. They're a lot more outspoken and things like that. And honestly, bro, like I don't think we can run from some facts, but does that make it a bad thing? And I want everybody around the room to kind of hit on that. So
well, I think Black women are usually outspoken, but I think a lot of situations they've been like forced to be. Like you think about it, you think about the systemic things that's been put in place where they go back to slavery, where they was always strip. The first thing they did was strip the guy out of the house. So I think now you go like to mass incarceration and all that. I feel like you got a system that's kind of it creates an environment where it puts the black woman and the black guy against each other. You look at something like welfare, Section 8. Well, you can stay in this 2-3 bedroom apartment or house for $200-$300 and get a $30 light bill, but the one condition is you can't have no black dude in here. You know what I'm saying? Or not making excuses. Some of the guys that have stepped out on their responsibility. You got the black woman that has to do everything. So now I think sometimes black women can be too independent. Like you can be, and not too independent. You can be independent, but still
I say be careful now.
Accept help. No, not I said you can be independent and still like be willing to accept help. But I think what you get sometimes is you get like a clash, and some guys just, I mean, me personally, I love the attitude.
So I'm gonna put a key word in there off of what you saying and tie some of that together, because I think I hear what you're saying, but we know a big thing right now: black women don't feel protected. It's the least protected, person. Period. So that could possibly put black women on the defense a lot. In turn, you get some attitude that comes with it. So I can kind of see what you're saying, kind of pit it against a lot of stuff, and it just kind of comes out in that way. James, what you thinking, bro?
I was gonna say the same thing J-Rock said, man. I mean, it's really just based off of just environment and how everything has been, over the generations and passed down. Single family homes. Again, putting in that situation where they have to be the head of the household.
Man, y'all don't be being nice to the princess here, though, man.
No, I'm just saying, but no, I mean, that's real. Now, again, and I go back to even what J-Rock said too. I mean, I've told plenty of times on the show, I've been fortunate enough to be a military brat, to move around and be at different cultures and different things like that. So I have dated interracially, but to say go back to J-Rock, I like the attitude, and I think it just comes back to going back to, and again, I should tread lightly with that too, because again, it can come out strong a lot of different times, and I think that takes just growing up in a family where you're used to that too. Because again, if I see my mom, my sisters, my aunts, and they all have that same disposition about themselves, well, that's what I'm normal. That's what I'm used to.
So y'all two cats is more accepting of that attitude.
Right. So, but again,
the Price said he don't want that attitude.
Was that no? I didn't get the what you say.
I said Price said he don't want the attitude, man.
Well, no, because again, I mean, it's not an attitude, because I think it's just a strong way of how they view the world, in a sense. Because I mean, I've dated multiple people. I mean, there's a thing about Hispanics and hot blood, and they get triggered real quick, and Puerto Ricans, and they'll cut you up. I mean, we've heard all this, so it's not.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely
it's not just in our own community. Personally, I just think females are just hot-blooded, emotional people that just gonna. I mean, so it's not. I'll say this on the reverse. To just our black women. You see that across all.
You saw Princess hand.
Yeah, she ready. Go.
Wait a minute! Don't put me in no box with nobody else. I ain't like everybody else.
But I'm just saying, we're just gonna generalize everything. I mean, we can just.
I get it.
Off the board, though.
I get it, and. I mean, the whole hot-blooded, comment, I understand what you mean by that. And I think too, going back to what Jesse spoke about earlier, a lot of times we are conditioned to be that way. And you spoke earlier too about, being in these different communities where you're being raised by a single mom, things like that. That shapes who we are as a person. So if we're used to, and then too, think about it, you see trends that your mom might have gone through, the different men that she may have been around, you've seen how she might have reacted to certain things. So in your mind, that's kind of like the norm. So when you get into different relationships or you start dating, people and actually start experiencing life outside of what you grew up to know, that also plays a factor in, how you approach certain things. Because I was raised.
Go ahead, Princess. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandparents have been married for 50 some plus years. And my grandmother always drove the whole, you need to have something for yourself, like idea hard in me. Even my mom, my mom had me young, just to kind of give you some background. So that's why my grandparents raised me. But she was always in my life. So, shout out to my mama. But I just saw that from my mom. She didn't get married until she was like, she's only been married for like maybe 7 years. But up until this point, like this is all I've known of her. Like she's always been independent. She's always had her own. She's always been able to stand on her own 2 feet without the assistance of somebody else.
Right.
And I myself was married for 9 years. Once way back when. But but even with that, like even now that I'm single, I'm still having to learn, or let me go back. When I was married, sometimes I feel like I was a little too independent. And so I'm starting to learn how to be more, I don't want to say dependent, but a little bit more relaxed on certain things, letting my guard down a little bit more, if that makes sense. And, allowing the man to be the man,
The man.
That's
So, I gotta go to my boy Deezy because he comes from a line of super strong women. And I'm gonna just let my boy talk because he got a little bit of a different, vibe going.
Let me get some popcorn.
Man, y'all see, I'll be back here chilling, man. I was chilling, man.
Man,
I mean, so coming from somebody who is married to a white woman, like white, but my whole, like Vito said, my everybody wasn't happy about everything. I'm gonna say that, but I didn't really give a damn because I figured if you don't like it, that's on you because I'm gonna do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care whose house this is, then I just won't come. I'm gonna bring whoever I want in here or anywhere else. I do personally believe, though, at this point in my life, that the attitude thing is a little bit overplayed.
Mm-hmm. What about the previous point though? I don't want to skip that. We don't want to jump the timeline. What about the previous point in your life when you thought the attitude was a bad thing? You ain't gotta talk about.
I mean, you learn and you grow. I say this, like black women start off earlier with all of it. Black women, they, you're like, yo, girl, we in college. What is this attitude? Like, none of this matters. What are you upset for?
Going to slam on you early on.
I mean, and I think that's kind of where it starts at, is like when you're young and you're in a relationship and you're wondering like, but so what is this for? Somebody about to say something?
Right. Yeah, I got a point on that. So kind of tying on what you're saying, one of my other points was, there can seem to be a perceived power in dating in our culture, in my opinion, in dating thugs. Like, what's the thoughts on that? Like, I get the whole, obviously a woman would want to date the strongest of. This is for any animal on earth, would want to date the strongest of their kind, right? So any woman would want to date the strongest of their kind, but what is it with this perceived perception that somehow thugs in our culture are the strongest of that?
Because thugs make money first.
I'm about to say, I think
thugs make money first. That's my personal opinion. When we were in college, the dudes that had all the money were the dudes that were hustling, and while we were in class. And so they seem to get all the chicks because they could go and do that kind of stuff.
And then I think go ahead, Princess.
No, I was gonna say that's a good point. I get that. And I think for women who just like prefer the thugs? Well, first of all, what do you guys consider to be a thug? Like, what is a thug?
You know what
So,
you're people.
What's a thug? Break it down for the people in the back.
In short, like, because I know where Price coming from. We've had this conversation before. Like, why, it's memes about it. So it's not like it's a hidden thing. But chicks be like, they'll see this guy clean cut, you know what I'm saying? Dude making A's in
He
class.
too nice.
He too nice. But then you want the dope boy
He lame.
that got the Crown Vic with the 22s. And every other word is a cuss word, and then he the same nigga that call you a bitch and all this type of stuff, but that's who you go for.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all think that has more to do with like the age of the woman, maturity, that type of thing, or are you all seeing that like with our age group now?
It's spanned for a while. I don't know about the age group now, but it's spanned for a while. It's spanned, early 20s. Still
but how many do you lose in the process? It's just to me, that's right. I said, how many do you lose in the process? Because you lose me in the process.
Yeah.
I'm just being real. You lose me in the process, right? Because I don't got time for it.
Well, see, so that's kind of the point for me. Like, if the conversation, once we get to our age, or early 30s, the later 30s, if the conversation then becomes, okay, well, where are all the good black men? Why are they dating the white women? But the conversation 10 years ago was, I'm dating the thugs because I'm just trying to live, I'm trying to have fun. Then you kind of answering your own question of, well, this is why there ain't no good black men, or the black men are dating outside of their race because they decided, I'm gonna move on.
But does it really answer the question, though? Right now. Does it really answer the question? Is that the core, the reason why so many black men are moving towards women of different races?
I don't know about so many, but I can tell you it's me.
So from your personal experience,
I think so. I think
all the fellas here can tell. Oh, go ahead, Price.
I was just gonna say, I think that's a very that's a high. If we were ranking them, that would probably be one of the higher ones when it comes to, in my opinion, just regular successful black men that go to school, get a degree, and go into the workforce. Like that type of man, not necessarily like the athlete, different types of other guys, but like just that regular successful guy. In my opinion, that is a lot of.
You're talking about like 33.5%. You're looking at 6 men right here, and 2 of them say the same thing. That's 33.5%.
Well, okay, to that point, I want to bring on the flip side, if we're talking about the thugs and the things that are more appealing to women, I guess, in the younger demographics, what about the women that appeal to the men that have a certain look about them, or have a certain, whatever, just appearance overall about them, and they may be more attractive, like physically attractive to some men versus the woman who actually has some things going on for herself. She may not necessarily fit that mold of what the guy is looking for, but we also find a lot where some men gravitate towards the, I don't want to say hot girl, but like the it girl, the it girl, the hot girl, I got my BBL in Miami, I'm all snatched at the waist and big old booty and nice, boobs. Like, what about that?
But I don't like to look at that.
That's a catch-22. I feel you. I mean, you have to look at
it
that way.
I would definitely say, because men are visual creatures, that's kind of like a gravitation. It captures the eye. And that's why women do it too. If you think about it, that's why they get the plastic surgery. That's why they get the bigger boobs and the bigger butts. Because they know that's what men kind of gravitate to. It's sex sales, and that's what we've been seeing our whole lives. That's what's in commercials.
I think.
So I mean, that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but I'm just saying, as a man, that's what weekend to
want to
grab
back
it.
up a
Of course,
little
as a
bit.
man, that's what I like.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in after you, Jane. Go ahead.
Because I didn't get to go in as far as the whole,
Go
why do
for
they
it,
go
bro.
to the thugs piece and stuff like that. And again, like I said, I just feel like I've been blessed as far as being able to see the world through a different eye, because I feel like, again, you see that with other races. I mean, you see that with, let's just put it in the white camp. You got the guy who's 2-3 years out of high school, can buy the beer, can he got the lifted truck on the nice knobby tire. He got the
Ice.
he got the flag hanging off his back of the truck, and they gonna run to the guy because he's fun. I mean, I think again that goes back to like how Princess was saying. I think it comes to a little bit about maturity level at that piece, and I think it even goes to a little bit as far as even what she was saying as far as what we're looking for as far as everything put together. And it's like, if we're not getting that attention, then it's like, oh, okay, well, she only wants the thugs because here I am smart. Like I said, I never necessarily really had that issue in the sense of saying, okay, if they like the thugs, that's probably somebody I'm not necessarily going to want to talk to anyway, because we're probably not going to have intellectual conversations to be able to talk about, because that's
absolutely.
So, there's plenty enough, like you said, there's plenty enough well put together Black women out there that to talk to. So with that piece of that on that, I never really, I know it's there and I've seen it. Again, I mean, I went to a school where, the drug dealers showed up with, the spinning rims and the candy paint, and, the girls was flocking to them and running and skipping school with them, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I know that's in there, but to be disingenuous to say that it only really just happens to us, and that's the reason why Black men are running to white women. I mean, I think that's kind of a weaker one, just for the fact that, because like I said, I've seen it in other races that happens too. Like, I mean, I think it's a maturity and that kind of thing. So
if that's the case, though, they're all weaker ones, though. You know what I'm saying? Because I said, if that's the case, they're all technically weaker, because I mean, they all tie together to make one whole thing. That's just one thing, one reason.
One little facet.
There's one, yeah. Not like I said, that's 33%. That's not, obviously, may not for you, may not for J-Rock, you know what I'm saying? But it did have something to do with it for me. Not saying it was the whole picture, but it was part of it.
Right.
Wait, hold on.
I mean, you even said something too, as far as even just, the dope more got cash. You sitting in class and you know what I'm saying, you hitting up dollar menu every other day, and the Cavs.
We was eating hot
my
dogs.
man ride around and some iceberg Snoopy on, and you know what I'm saying, some platinum FUBU, and you can't deal with that. You can't do nothing with that.
James, let me say this though. So I do have to disagree a little bit. Like when you talk about, like, for me personally, when I talk about like the college girl experience, like if you talk about different races, I don't know another race in college that got that same mindset.
Oh, I saw it all the time in Alabama. I saw it all the time because again, you have the kids that, I mean, especially you would have the kids that either have the rich parents or whatever like that, or you even had just the kids that were just reckless in a sense. And you saw the girls gravitate to the ones that were more reckless because they were more fun. You have the guys that, I was an engineering major at first. So I went to school with the smart white kids, and I saw how they got pushed aside for the cool frat kid, or the kid with the BMW because his parents got money, or the kid that can get all the drugs or the beer.
But that's different than thugs, though. That's different than
but it's not, because here's the thing, because we don't necessarily have that the dope boy in our community is the rich kid with the BMW.
Yeah, but you're talking about something, but the scale of what happens is different, though.
What's that?
Like you talking, I mean, dope boy, that's like a dude that's selling drugs, blah blah blah, doing stuff that's illegal. You talking about a reckless dude? He jumping off the roof at a party. That's completely different than a dude that's out here selling drugs, making money.
Well, see, that's why I wanted to get an understanding of what a thug was.
It goes back to the root of just
what?
The fun option. It's not a sense of, like you said, I understand what you're saying as far as even going further than that, to saying, okay, he's doing illegal stuff. And but again, it goes back to
But
fun and reckless. You selling dope, that's fun and reckless. I mean, not. I mean,
it
but I'm
may
just saying
not
that's
go
what I'm
That
saying.
ain't fun.
I mean,
It may
may
be
not go
fun.
to the thugs.
You
Maybe,
know
it
what
may
I'm
be,
saying?
it
Like,
may be fun.
it's exciting to the sense
It may
of
be.
somebody who's not mature enough to know the dangers of the consequences that's going to come behind it.
What
I
you
The
say-
same way I
I
saw
see
all
that.
the rich kids flunk out of school too because they were reckless and doing drugs or selling drugs. Because again, we're not just going to sit here and say that we're all the people that sell drugs. Like I said, I sat there and
we ain't saying
watched
that
them.
though. We ain't saying that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So
This is the topic
we can
of
sit there and say,
conversation.
I've seen it at my school, at Alabama, a predominantly white school. I saw white drug dealers, how you want to claim them because they don't look like our drug dealers. They're not the same.
But I'll tell you one more thing.
Reckless, and them same females would run after them because they were the ones that had.
But I'm gonna tell you one more thing. We ain't gonna do. What we ain't gonna do is act like black people and the plight of what you see on a typical basis is the same that you're gonna see in the white people. You might did see 1 or 2 white dudes sell drugs, but you probably see 2 or 20 black dudes selling because that's what we gotta do. But go ahead, Jay.
Right.
So, all right, hold on, Price. Hold on. And my question
in that too.
My question is more so of I think this is what if I'm watching, I think this what people want me to ask or want Princess to ask, and she may not be asking. and so it goes to Price, James, and O. And I heard O say that part of the reason he dated outside of his race was because he was being left in the dirt because chicks was choosing thugs. And is that part of the reason? Did I get that right, Deezy?
Yeah, it's a small. It's a part of it.
Small part. Okay, all right. And James, I know I heard you say you dated outside your race growing up. So my question to you two and Deezy, you can kind of jump in there if you want. Like, what prompted that decision for you guys? What was it? Just you found somebody you love, or were you just like experimenting? And so what prompted your decision to date outside your race?
For me, women are women to me. Period. I've dated every race on this earth that I know of that I could actually date. Like dated them all. So like it's not like I never looked at women like I gotta be restricted to just a black woman because I'm black. I've dated black women, I've dated white women, I've dated all types of women. So to me, it was just about experimenting to see what I like. But I like women, so it didn't matter what race they were. It just if we was vibing, we was vibing.
So you didn't necessarily have I was turned off from this group of
He didn't say that though.
Black women.
No, I didn't say that.
I know.
I mean,
that's what I'm.
There could be so some of these points that I do have.
But that sounds like what Deez is saying though.
No. So I think for O, what he was saying was that some of these points can mesh together to explain why we chose to date outside our race. But it ain't just got to be necessarily the determining factor on why we chose to date outside our race.
You were saying what the main deciding factor is for me. I'll be straight up with you.
Man,
white women love me. White women love me.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey,
I did put that too. One of the points was,
don't matter to me,
bro. So one of the points was that some black men are just different. Yeah. Like we different in that, our personality and how we go about stuff is just different, and maybe it align more to a different race. And we hang out with a different race, so you date who you cool with.
I will say this, and this is just my point of view, and James, you can hop in there, then I give it back to you. I do think it does have a lot to do with, like James said, he traveled a lot, so he was able to, meet different people and experience the world. I do think some of it, at least in my case, has to do with like your environment. So for me, living in Jackson, Mississippi, Princess, I don't know how much you know about it, but it's like baby Memphis to me. And from elementary to high school, I went to school with nothing but black people. So that's what I knew. That's what I understood. That's what I grew to love. You know what I mean? I took the good with the bad, and I love the bad, and I love the good. So for me, that's, if I were to answer that question, I said, that's what I know, that's what I love, and that's what I'm accustomed to. You know, that's what I go to talk to. And it doesn't mean that I haven't had interest in other women, you know, because, you know, everybody want to experiment at some time. But, you know, that's what I grew up knowing. So that's what I know, you know, but that's different for people like O or Price or James or some, even people in my own family who grew up, who I noticed grew up around different races.
So mine just came out of just, again, like you just said. I mean, it was more or less traveling and then just being inclusive. I mean, being in the military, if you've been around any kind of military base, it's probably the best social experiment the government has ever done, because to make all these different races and all these different people of all kind of backgrounds work together, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, you still got these squabbles, but I mean, that's where I just came from, in the sense that, like you said, people is people, you know, women is women, and different things to that nature. But I would add really quickly, so I can let J Rock say, you know, his point. Through my dating though, I mean, I would just tell you that ain't nothing like a Black woman, man. And you know, I mean, and again, it's all, you know, opinions and different things of that nature. But again, it goes back to just, you know, especially even in this time, like I just personally, I just feel like nobody gets you like a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? And it may not necessarily be the Black woman that you find, because again, like we just said, we're so multifaceted that, again, you can find us from all walks of life, all backgrounds, or different things to that nature, but we're all still just rooted by the same common, you know, thread. And I feel like regardless of where you find yourself in that hierarchy of people and levels, I think you still find a common something. And I think that's what I found, that just through, you know, through my dating and different things to that nature. So like you said, there's chicks that go for different types. You know, again, I was out, you know, before contacts, I was the goofy looking guy with the glasses and things to that nature. So, you know, if we even go talk about the colorism piece of it, of this, you know, so
no,
that's another.
That's a whole nother call. Let Gerard get in there.
We can look at you, me and Price,
start on
like,
something.
places and females I talk to, they're like, I don't date light skinned guys. I don't date dark skinned guys. So
bro,
you got that whole thing,
James.
because
bro,
like, oh, we light skinned, we you know, we whatever.
We short dude, man.
I'm sick of that light skinned man.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, we got
Princess ain't dating no short dude.
And I'm 5'6". I think I'm tall for a woman. I think
that's about average. That's about average.
Yeah, you know, throw a little heels on it. You don't want to be towering over somebody.
But yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Man, I'm sitting here thinking, man, it's just so loaded.
It is.
Like, I'm with James. Like, I grew up military too, so like we saw everybody: Asians, Hispanics, blacks, whites, everything. I think there's so many facets to it. I think there's a difference between, like, attraction is attraction, right? You ask anybody that knows me, they knows that I am a titty guy. So you can have titties on a black woman, a white woman, a Hispanic woman, an Asian woman. Titties is titties, you know. So that's one facet of it. And then my thing is, your preference is your preference. Like, hey, if you seem to have clicked with white women better, cool. If you click with black women better, cool. My only thing is, like, and I think the Princess said at the beginning, like, I struggle with how you can generalize, like, black women, all black women have attitudes. Well, is it? I mean, because you got to think, everybody has different personalities. You know, you can, what one person might be absolutely crazy to me, and then the next person flip out in a totally different way, but I'm cool with that. So I just feel like my thing with women, period, you just have to find your crazy. And I use that word loosely, of course. But
you just y'all being too nice, like, man.
Okay, you know,
y'all being a little nice,
like, that's I got something for you.
And then you go back. I mean, you go back to like the whole. You go back to like the D boy thing. The D boy, she wants the dope boy. to me, I think it's a lack, like James said, it's a maturity level. Because is she clinging to him because he's selling drugs, or is she clinging to him because he got $1,500 in his pocket and he can give her a couple $100? So to me, it's a difference in, at that age, we want to look good, we want to floss, we want to flaunt, whatever. And even sometimes with guys, we looking for a girl with the shortest skirt, whatever. But as you grow older, you kind of flip. You're like, oh man, ain't nobody trying to see all that. So I think maturity goes in there, man. But yeah, I just have an issue with the total classification. Like, okay, so you dated 2 or 3 black girls, and like those 2 or 3 like totally wiped you off for the entire race, black girls, to me, like I said, I struggle with that, so I mean, but again,
that's life though, man. That's life, man. A nigga can eat spaghetti one time and choke on milk and it go through his nose and he done. You know what I'm saying? So
now.
Just something off the wall. You know what I'm saying? Just something weird.
I'm trying to see all these girls that then left these dudes for like thugs, man.
Bro, J-Star, that happened, bro. You can't everybody has seen
we
that.
can talk, right? Bro, we went to USM.
Bro.
We're not gonna call out names, but we could go through names of girls that we looked at and was like, man, she bad. Man, she nice. And then we'll be like,
man,
shit with that
bro. I know y'all remember that girl up in Foursquare that I was trying to talk to, but it was like on to the next.
That boy been carrying that for 18 years.
It was like on to the next, man. That just didn't mean nothing.
This what we're gonna close with, because y'all niggas been tripping, man. Because here's the thing. This is what I got to say. This is how I feel about it. I feel like everybody being nice, and I feel like everybody's saying some truthful stuff. I mean, I don't feel like there's any way in the world you can replace a black woman with anything. Like, she is queen to me. That's real. But to sit here and act like there ain't no issues in that, I can't do that. I'm just be honest with you. And the reason why I cannot do that is because, and I'm directing this at Princess, and I don't want your girlfriend to throw you away, but I do want you to tell the truth.
Okay.
So do you get disappointed when you scroll through social media, when you hear the headlines? And I'm gonna throw a couple examples in there, because black women disappoint me a lot. I'm gonna be quite honest, because I feel like that their greatness should not be diminished to such ignorance. And then here's one example. And I hate to clown folks, but matter of fact, I ain't gonna clown. Let's just take Offset. Offset from Migos. Offset said that he won't date a black woman and he like Hispanic women. Hence Cardi B. And he was kind of specific about it. You got Gilbert Arenas saying things like that. Like I said, I don't want to clown them, but why do black women all of a sudden get up in arms about one nigga saying something super stupid? And they do a whole campaign and they generalize and they say, oh, he this, he shouldn't have said this, he shouldn't have said that, he shouldn't, it's just a whole campaign. And black women are the creators of Black Twitter. I don't care. It's a black woman somewhere that started this whole situation, because it just gets messy. And black women, to me, jump down these rabbit holes to diminish who they are, because I'm like, why the hell are you worried about Offset? Move on to the next nigga. Who cares what this nigga say? You should,
I think maybe the biggest reason for that is because he is just the face of it. This is something that we hear, but he has such a big platform and he has such a big following and he's such a big influencer. So by him saying that, it's like reaching the masses. Whereas if you got this dude from Orange Mound who said, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Memphis, but if you got this dude from Orange Mound who's saying, oh, I only prefer Hispanic women or whatever. It's like, okay, dude, whatever, go on, roll down the street on your bike and keep it that way. But for somebody who, is so big and has such a big following and such a big, I guess, influence, and we hear it in his music, we hear it, he's heavy on social media. I think it's probably more so disappointing, and it feels almost like you're being attacked, because then you got the amen corner. You know, you got the other
Yeah.
men coming in like, oh yeah, you know.
Let me
I think
challenge you on
part
that
of
though.
what
Let me challenge her on that though, because the thing is, while it may be like, you know, a big platform, a huge platform, you got 6 niggas right here that don't have any of the same ideals that Migos has. Like, and this lends to what Price was saying to begin with. So instead of showing this dude attention and blowing it up and letting him know that he touched y'all emotionally, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, for him, just keep it moving. That's my question, because it happens way too often. What you about to say, J Star?
I'll basically what you about to say. He should not be your Bill Cosby
Barometer.
or your
He shouldn't.
your
He shouldn't be
you know.
anybody's idea or image of,
But it
you
happens
know,
so
I don't want to
often,
be
though,
shady,
When
but
you
yeah, he's not the
Oh,
poster child for, or the spokesperson for Black men of
Right.
America.
when you
And I'm not saying
arguing
he do
that
that,
big
but
time,
go ahead.
go ahead. I was just saying, when you argue that big time, you know, that's just bringing more light to it. That just makes it
Right.
bigger.
But
That's
the reason
true.
I brought that one little piece up, but it happens like every week. Every week, a Black woman is mad about something. I think J-Lo said something about she a little nigga from the Bronx or something. Black women like, oh, you want to claim you a nigga now, you know. I'm like, you don't know how this lady grew up. You don't know what she went through or nothing. All you doing is, now if she would have said that and then want to make it seem like her saying that on a record was a good thing, you don't know, she might have lost sales from that. But Black women immediately jump on that and they immediately have a problem. And the reason why I brought this stuff up is it's kind of lends to what Price and O was saying earlier. These are some of the things that may make a man be like, bro, that shit nigga just ain't worth it. Like, but you know,
Well, why though? You know,
these.
why this small instance, or I guess this small moment, why would that be a deterrent for somebody? Now, I
I'm gonna be honest
understand
with you,
things
Chris.
are like, it's like a stepping stone, so things can
Right.
kind of pile on top of each other. So I get that. But if at any moment that happens, is there any type of discussion around that to figure out, well, why does she feel this way?
Yeah,
You know,
I
because
feel yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. I just feel like as men are oftentimes very simple. I mean, women are super complex. They have a lot of bones and things that men don't have. Loyalty being one of them. So, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, just being honest about it. Men are simple. You know, if you yourself have poor representation on the internet, that's, you know, I might get burned for that, but that's facts to me. Like, there's very poor representation because that's the end
of
thing,
Black
right?
women.
Yeah, it really is for in a lot of different ways because of what people look for. Not saying that there aren't good Black women out there on the internet, but when people share things and share memes and share the most popular videos, and it's always something that's ignorant. It's never, you know, rarely ever something that's
Controversial.
groundbreaking and important. You know what I'm saying?
I see where you're coming from, but you know, on my timeline for the most part now, you know, you got to have a balance in there because I do enjoy the love and hip hops of the world. I enjoy the Oprahs of the world. I'm somewhere in the middle.
You know,
So,
you know that
who
time
is that?
Huh?
Who's that?
Okay. Man, some chick that to sit there and discuss that love and hip hop or housewives and that chick. I'm just talking about from a numbers standpoint. This chick got like millions of people watching. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like from a number standpoint. While, like I said, like your representation is not the popular part. Who you are is not what's popular. It's based on. Go ahead, Price. I see you got that finger up. Go ahead.
I got one last point. And it is one last reason, and I wanted to bring it up just so y'all can kind of touch base on it. But restrictions in the bedroom. Now, that's not as big now. That's not as big now, but I believe in the past that was a reason why some Black men chose to go with white.
Okay.
You just got to find the right one. You just got to
Time
find
out.
the right one.
That part, Jesse.
So I'll say this: there was a generalization in the past
It was
that Black women wouldn't do certain things in the bedroom that white women would do, or women outside of the
Maybe
Black
not
race.
in Memphis, but
Actually-
in Mississippi there was.
Actually, Price. I'll take that a step further for you. I think that it was a big generalization, and it's still a generalization. And it's probably speaks more to why Black men don't like to get married is after you get married, things change. Or
Princess burning up.
the
man.
lack thereof.
What Bernie Mac say? Tell your mama to suck your dick.
Yeah, things change.
So we mentioned last week. We mentioned, like you see the basketball player with the white chick when he go to the draft, and I think that all ties in with that restrictions in the bedroom as well as being more accepting of infidelity.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay.
So I'm bringing up points why I think that some Black men would be more willing to date white women in that aspect.
Well, we do know that last thing you said is a generalization because that's kind of in line with what Princess said about white women being more submissive. But Princess, you go ahead because you.
Yeah, let Princess get in there.
Where do y'all want me to start?
Look, we gonna let you close us out. You start anywhere you want to.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm trying to word it in a way that is just
Take your time now. We in church. Take your time.
Yeah.
kind of like PG.
No. Raw.
As long as you ain't got somebody watching that's gonna be mad at you, you fine. You do what you do.
Raw.
Okay. So
Put that Memphis slang on.
put the Memphis line. Okay.
Name. Say
okay. The only woman that I know to be is a Black woman. I've never stepped outside of my race before. I've never been white. I can only speak from a Black woman's perspective. And because, as women, you get with your girlfriends, you talk about different things and, different experiences and whatnot. I'm not really too familiar with what you're talking about, Price. Just from personal experience and those of other Black women that I'm close with. By all means, I'm sure you have a very valid point. But I just can't speak to that. But that's just me. And
she get down with the get down, so you can't be talking about her, man.
Well, I'll say this: maybe it's not even just I'm not doing that, but it's more of a reluctancy or some pushback,
some type of hesitation.
Yeah.
See, I think that's deep because I think you can go cultural with that. Like for a Black girl woman to do that, like that, you don't do that. That's nasty.
You're talking about head?
Yeah, just say giving head.
I was wondering when somebody was gonna say it.
I was just trying to make sure we was on the same page.
Like in the average,
like they don't want to say it.
Especially coming up, man, that's unheard of. You better not get caught doing that. Like if you do that, you instantly a hoe, flat out, point blank, period. Whereas I'm not white, so I can't just tell you 100% of their culture, but I don't think it's there. To me, a lot of white women are raised more submissive. Like they're raised to, you come up and you find that husband and you're that wife. You make him happy, he go work, whatever. So I think that's a piece of it too. I think if you think about it, man, if somebody been telling you your whole life, you don't do that, you don't do that, you don't do that, you don't do that, like that's in you. But
I'm gonna tell you this too. So just from my experience, I flourish more if I'm with or dealing with somebody that I trust and that I know like for a fact has my back, period.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, I think that also speaks to things that might have happened to that particular Black woman or those particular Black women that you were dealing with, or whoever was dealing with. But for the most part, just being a woman, you know, when we feel protected, loved, when we can trust our significant other, it's really nothing that we would not do for that person.
Price, you gotta be worthy first, bro. You can't just go on the first date and get topped off the first date.
Hey, he was just ramming in stocks.
So I do want to clarify. This is not my conversation. Is not personal. My past experiences, none of that. So, you know.
Disclaimer. Hope they get that far in the video.
I will go back and say, I think, like you said, it is a cultural thing. I mean, it is a big cultural thing. Like J-Rock was saying. I mean, I'll even go as far as even just on the dude standpoint, for as just, I mean, we wanted, you know,
say it
in the bedroom and this and that. I guess. I mean, how many times have we heard in all the rap songs, you know, we ain't going down, you know, we ain't kissing, we just sticking, man. You know, so I think it was just even cultural, even just on our point, it's like, oh, we ain't doing none of that. Like, what you talking about? Like, you know, so there's that piece of it too. So I mean, it go both ways.
Like no way it goes both ways for your boy.
Prince is hit the nail on the head, though. Say what, Deez?
I didn't say nothing else. What somebody said something.
J-Star said something. What'd you say?
I said, what that mean, Deez? Elaborate.
I mean, so this is okay. So I'll elaborate a little bit. Like, so dudes want somebody that's going to reciprocate, and dudes don't care about waiting. Not dudes I know, not most of them don't care about waiting until somebody else feels comfortable. Like, I want reciprocation when I'm ready to get reciprocation.
But I think we just forget how, you know, really you got to think, I mean, how conservative our just upbringing and just even our
who's upbringing?
I'm just saying parents. I mean, parents, I mean, when you think about it as far as how we just, you know, been in the church and different things to that nature and whatnot like that, like you said, like even J-Rock said, when you associate that, so that pinpoint thing is like, if you do that, like, you can just forget it. Like, your names are going to be in the streets and it's going to be through mud. Whereas I think sometimes with more of the other races, they're a little bit more liberal in the sense of just how they just operate, just they own skin. I mean, think about it like this. I mean, you know, we talk about like, oh, you know, we can't show this or do that, or we got to be covered up and everything. Like, we have our own cultural like knockups on just being sexualized.
I don't care.
As we've been getting access, and like I think he even said it, like, or Price said it, like, I don't think it's necessarily an issue now, or it's coming more acceptance or whatever like that. But I think it goes back to even just all we keep on talking about. I think it's just the lack of information and knowledge in our own
man.
So when you get out of that bubble, you start seeing like, oh, this is what you're really supposed to do. Like the whole time, if I did it, I was gonna be called a hoe, but like no, like y'all really want this, and I'm still a regular chick. Like,
I feel
okay.
that. I feel
like,
that.
Yeah, man. I'm not a hoe. Like, I'm not a hoe. I did it, so.
Yeah.
I feel that, man. But you know, I'm gonna say this, and you know, I feel like we come to a good point where we can kind of close it out. But I feel like what Princess said is a culmination of kind of what this called, just to bring it all together, because honestly, she's the best example of saying what that means to her. You know what I'm saying? Because she's a female here. And if we all are honest with ourselves as guys that's been in relationships with Black women, she ain't lying. If you do all those things to make her feel safe, bruh, it ain't a thing that woman won't do for you. Period.
Thanks.
Period.
And I mean, we've experienced that. We've experienced that since birth when we got a mom. You know what I'm saying? Our mom did everything for us. You know what I'm saying? Mom worked 2 jobs and all that sort of thing. So that's why I feel like Black women, you know, regardless of what I said earlier, I still stand by that. I think there's a lot of poor representation on the internet, but you know, Black women are queens, period, bro. Like Egyptian type stuff. So Just to close it out, man, we want to say thank you to Princess. It was awesome. I hope you come
Appreciate
back
you,
Thank
homie.
y'all. Thank y'all. It was
Anytime.
fun. Y'all gotta have me back.
anytime.
Yeah, we
anytime.
hey Vito, man, I think we need a part 2, man. I feel like we didn't
Yeah.
touch every
I
point.
got a
Follow
lot of
up.
stuff still up in my belly, man. I ain't gonna lie.
We'll get back to it, man. But we appreciate y'all, man. And
Thank
HBCU
you.
guys, we out of here.
Peace.
Peace, peace.